Top of the morning to you. In this video, we shall be grading every team's potential in the future. D-, Boston Celtics. They're very old. Their best player is their second youngest player because they just traded for a pretty young player. I would have put them in F- like a month ago, but now they're not an F- because, well, they just traded Drew Holiday for a younger player. I think it's Anthony Simons. B, Brooklyn Nets. They got great potential because their team sucks, so they're gonna get draft picks, and they already have a pretty young team. Their team's actually pretty weird though. Like they have 30-year-olds and then 20-year-olds, like early 20-year-olds. The New York Knicks. C, like they don't have that much great future, but they have a few young players. That's really it. They have a few young players. That's the only reason they're not an F. B+, Philadelphia 76ers. They just got VJ Edgecombe, and they also have Tyrese Maxey. But Joel Embiid kind of drags them down. A, Toronto Raptors. I gave them an A because, well, I mean, first thing, pretty sucky team. Going to get good draft picks, and they're a very young team. Their best players are either 27 or below. A+, Chicago Bulls. Josh Giddey, one of the most dependent, one of the best young players so far. And the only reason that OKC traded Josh Giddey was because their budget. He wanted too much, so they traded him. A+, Cleveland Cavaliers. I gave Cleveland an A+ because they're an incredibly young team and one of their best teams still. A, Detroit Pistons. Best player, drafted 2 years ago. That's all I need to say. C+, Indiana Pacers. Main reason is because they have Tyrese Halliburton that they're this high. Just because they have an under 25 guy. That's really good. B+, Charlotte Hornets. Sucky team, so they're going to get good draft picks. They just drafted, I forget his name. And they have LaMelo, under 25. Their best player, under 25. They have Alex Sarr. That might have been the guy. I don't know. They just drafted someone high up. I just remember that. A-, Dallas Mavericks. Only reason not an A+. Best player, arguably, Anthony Davis. Pretty old. And Kyrie Irving. Pretty old. But besides that, they have a great young roster. C-, Denver Nuggets. I don't know. They're just an average team. Have old players, have young players, just evens it out at C. Golden State Warriors, D. The only reason they're not an F is because of Brandon Porvinsky. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. A-, Houston Rockets. Championship contender already. Have great young roster. Actually, I changed this to an A. Actually, no. I remember why they're not an A+. Because they have not Anthony Davis. Oh my god. Because they have Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant's probably retiring in like 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. Hell, he might retire next year. F, Los Angeles Clippers. The only reason they're not an F- is because they have John Wall, I think. I think that's his name. I don't know. They just traded for him. B-, Los Angeles Lakers. So they have Luka. That's practically their main reason. And the reason they're not an A is because they have LeBron. And yeah, so they have Luka, uh, Austin Reeves, and Rui Hashimura, who are pretty young, decently young, and LeBron's just dragging them down. C, Memphis Grizzlies. They have Ja, I guess. Nothing else to say, really. C minus, Miami Heat. Honestly, I don't know that much about this team. But I do know they have Bam, and Bam's like at the end of his prime, I guess. So, C minus. C plus, Milwaukee Bucks. I gave Milwaukee a C plus because Giannis is good, and Giannis will probably be good in the future. Again, I also don't know much about this team. B minus, Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota Timberwolves is also like a really weird team, like the Brooklyn Nets. Like they have really old people and then really young people. But Ant being so young and so good makes this like a B minus. New Orleans Pelicans, C plus. Really, the only reason why they're C plus is because Zion is pretty young. But if he keeps on getting injured and injured and injured and over again, then I don't know why it's a C plus. A plus, Oklahoma City Thunder. Nothing to say. They won a championship. They're the youngest champions ever. Their best player is 26, I think. Their second best player is like 21. Their third best player is also like 21 or 22. Both of them, I don't know their age exactly, but they were drafted like 2 years ago. And yeah, their oldest player is Alex Caruso, and he is 32, I think. A, Orlando Magic. Paulo Banchero really carries this, and besides Paulo Banchero, and Desmond Bane, I really don't know anyone else on the Orlando Magic. B minus, Phoenix Suns. Since they traded for KD, it kind of goes up a bit, and now that they have Jalen Green, even though he hasn't proved himself yet, he could prove himself this year. B minus, Portland Trailblazers. They have a pretty young roster, not pretty good roster, but pretty young roster. That's really it. B, Sacramento Kings. They have a pretty young roster too. Zach LaVine kind of holds them down, but that's it. A minus, San Antonio Spurs. Wemby. They would have been an A plus if Chris Paul wasn't on their team. C plus, Utah Jazz. They just got some center. I forget his name, but he's pretty old. If they didn't just trade with the Clippers, they probably would have been like a B or a B plus, but they did. So now they're a C plus. B minus, Washington Wizards. They suck, so they're going to get good draft picks in the future. And they have a pretty young roster besides a few old guys. C minus, Atlanta Hawks. All I really know in the Hawks is Trae Young. I know. And I would assume they have a pretty average team, not a young team or an old team. Just average. Well, that's it. Bye.